Hey, Rosie.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to our
What's
little
up?
scrappy podcast.
I tell you, I never
Hello.
knew there was something called Mounjaro butt.
Oh, yeah, it's all in the news.
Yes.
Mounjaro
Yeah.
face I've heard, but I haven't heard of
Yeah.
Mounjaro butt.
Yes.
Oh,
You
They
get
do
like
both.
a
Yeah.
finger.
this butt with skin hanging off. Is that the
No.
Yeah, it's like saggy butt or
Yeah.
like whatever you
It's
would
just
get if
a
you lost a
butt.
lot of weight.
It's just
Yeah.
a deflated
Just a
butt because I used to have a butt, but I don't have it anymore.
I
Talking
really
about
think we
butts
need a
again.
pillow in the merch store that says something about MJ butt. Like, I feel like that would be really funny with the logo.
Yeah.
Just do it. Hold on, Kim. Let me do my vacation. I'll get off.
you know that people like us who've struggled with weight our whole lives are now
Yeah.
so concerned that somebody might notice that our butt is, when you're getting
Smaller.
close to whatever the number is for you and that you said I will never go over and you are,
Yes.
at that point, it's just about your health. So I don't
Yes.
care if I get Mounjaro face. I don't care if I get Mounjaro butt. I know this, that when I went to the doctor, I moved out here 2 years ago. I had to get new doctors. And this one doctor said, "You are pre-diabetic." I said, "I know, but they've been telling me that for 10 years." And she said, "Yeah, but you're 7.0 is the cutoff and you're 6.9 or something like that." She said, "I would rather treat it now than wait and see what happens." And I already was a type 2, right on the borderline
Yes.
diabetic. So in about September of last year, she gave me what she said, "Would you take a shot?" I'm like, I haven't taken shots, but I'm sure I could. So she gave me that and something else called Repatha, which I don't think has anything to do with weight loss. I have to take that once. That's something with my heart, I think, but I have to take that once every other week, and I take Mounjaro every Thursday. So I didn't
Okay.
start until December
Oh,
because
okay.
I kind of like nobody was talking about it then in September. I had seen the Ozempic, but I didn't really know what it was for or think anything about it. And
Yeah.
so on December 16th, I take the shot and I go with my son and he gets engaged. And I knew it was happening and it was very emotional. And I never, I just was so emotional. I was very crying during it. We saw a musical after him and his fiance, and it was Phantom, and it was great. And
Congratulations.
crying a lot. And then I went to Nobu, which is my favorite sushi restaurant in the world. And normally I can eat there. I couldn't eat anything. And I thought it was because I was upset, right? I didn't think when she told me, this doctor who's wonderful, when she told me, "We're going to do this to get your A1C down," I said, "Okay." She never mentioned weight loss.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the world of it yet. So after about 10 days where I noticed I wasn't eating so much, but I wasn't sure. I get on the scale and I lost like 9 pounds. So if
Gosh.
I go right away to I have a terminal illness,
Yeah.
right? I call my doctor. I'm like, there must be something wrong. I'm not hungry and I lost weight and I don't know what's happening. And she's like, "That's the Mounjaro." I said, "It makes you lose weight?" She said, "Yes." And I was totally unaware.
Yeah.
So I had the vertical gastric sleeve at 50 after I had a heart attack. So probably at my heaviest was when I had my heart attack. I don't know. I think I was 240. I don't remember exactly the number because like at some point, like I remember 227. Remember that show 227?
Yeah.
Yeah.
227.
I
Absolutely.
always thought to myself, "Oh my God, I'm 227." And before that, I was Karen Valentine, room 222. So that was sort of my like, I'm staying in this. I can't go past this.
Yeah.
And when I did, I stopped weighing myself. Well, I had a heart attack and I was lucky to survive it. It was the LAD, the Widowmaker. And that
Oh,
was about
goodness.
10 years ago. I lost
Yeah.
about 30 pounds on it. I got down to sort of where I am now, like in the 190s.
Mhm.
And then I gained some back, like 10 pounds back, but it definitely was a help for me. And it was the only option at the time. So I did it at all of my doctor's requests. And now cut to 10 years later, and they tell me I'm a type 2 diabetic, and I get this shot. The first month or two, I was in shock. I could not believe the effect that it had on my thought process about food. You know,
It's outstanding.
we all of my family, Irish people, you know, potato pulling Irish farmers from the 1700s. That's us. You know,
Yes.
we all have the same kind of body and the same kind of weight issues, but it wasn't, you know, when we were young, it wasn't that way. When my mother was alive, my brother Danny was in husky clothes, which was like a big shame for him, he tells me now. But the rest of us weren't. But after my mother died, we all gained weight because nobody was there to say, don't eat the Oreos. Nobody was there to, you know, to be home with us. And we were 5 motherless kids, and we ate what 10-year-olds would eat, right? Left to their own devices. So I think in my life and career, I've always had a weight issue, especially in Hollywood. When I did League of Their Own, I was like 170 pounds. And I remember Penny Marshall going, I want you to lose 10, 15, or 20 pounds. Can you do it? And I said, well, if I could do it, Penn, I would do it, because nobody likes to be obese. Nobody likes people to say to them, you should lose 20 pounds. Nobody, you don't carry it around for fun. You carry it around for reasons that you
Yes.
don't even fully understand.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
thought they were mostly emotional reasons.
Yeah.
But from this medication, I've realized there's a biological component that is hard to we just lost the south of France.
We we did. She'll be right back, I bet. We'll keep
Somebody's
going.
making her like a brie omelet or something.
There she is.
Yes.
Oh, she's back and better than ever. Oh, there you are. I was worried about you in the south of
It's-
France over there.
Right, exactly.
It's a hard knock
the tea.
life for you. It's a hard knock life. So anyway, I always thought that the weight was emotional, and when there was stressful times in my life, like when I started my show, I was probably about 180. That was in 96. And by the time the 6 months were up from when we started in the summer until Christmas, I had gone up to 200. And I remember thinking, Roseanne Barr announced on the Tonight Show when she was under 200 finally. And I remember in my mind thinking, okay, you're as big as Roseanne Barr. Not that that's a horrible thing to be, but I was always smaller than her. And now I was equal to her. And we were both entertainers, both named Rosie, both in show business, both comedians. So, it was easy to be mistaken for her and to sort of categorize myself with plus size women for the first time, because I always bordered Gap and Lane Bryant.
Yeah.
I was like not
Agreed.
fit
Yes.
enough for the Gap, but I could fit in the XL. And I was not fat enough for Lane Bryant. In fact, I used to make a joke that sometimes in the mall, I'd go into Lane Bryant and they'd say, we have nothing here that could fit you. And I go, oh, thank you. I'll go with
Thank you so much.
exactly. Like, oh, look at me. Okay. But it's a silly thing to think that, the plus size wardrobe community, or lack thereof, was only really one place that we could go. It's different now.
Yeah.
It's better now.
It has evolved quite a bit. Yeah. Quite a
But
bit.
I have been on it since December 16th, and I've lost almost 30 pounds, like 29 pounds. But I am on 2.5 because of my gastric sleeve.
Yeah.
So my
Okay.
doctor told me, she said, your stomach is much smaller than people who've not had this surgery. So the amount of stuff that you need, the stuff that's in there, is less than most people. And if you have no side effects and you are not suffering, I'm not suffering at all. I think that this
Great.
is a miracle drug.
Yes.
It's a miracle drug. I tell people the truth. My children learned very early to hide their candy at Halloween.
Yeah,
And
same.
from November 1st until Christmas, every night before I went to sleep, all I thought was, there's a Butterfinger in here somewhere. And all I got to do is find it. Right. I couldn't stop myself. Like you hear people talking about
Yeah.
the first time they smoked meth or the first time they took heroin, they thought, I am never not going to do this. Well, that's how I feel about Mounjaro. Not only does it really regulate your A1C. I went from a 7 down to a 5.1 or a 5.2. I know I'm privileged and white and rich, and I have a lot of things that most people in the world don't have access to. And I have the financial ability to pay, although because I'm diabetic, my insurance does cover it. But I called my agent after about 4 months on this. And I said, could you call Eli Lilly and tell them that I would be willing to be their spokesperson for free if they would still provide the coupons? I don't even want to be paid. I just want to be able to go out there and say, this will change your life. It's changed mine. Now, I haven't lost like some people go on there and whether they admit it or not, including some celebrities, where you look at them and go, I don't know who you think you're fooling, but nobody goes from looking how you did to looking how you are without this medication or this help.
Yeah.
No one
Tell
does.
it, Rosie.
Yeah, and people used to say about Oprah, they used to say, she's so rich. Why doesn't she just hire somebody to punch the food out of her hands? Like that she was so, why could Oprah Winfrey have a weight problem when she's the richest, most successful woman in the world?
Yeah.
Because that's not what it's about. It's about your
It's
genes. It's
not.
about your biology. It's about nurturing and ways that you compensate with food, ways that you emotionally satiate yourself with food. I have a chef because I took a year to get healthy and I hired a chef and she's amazing and she makes me calorie appropriate and protein appropriate meals. And sometimes I still love the meal. This is what people say to me. So you're not interested in food? I go, I'm not interested in snacks. I used to have snacks a lot.
Very good point.
If there were cookies at my house, warm cookies, I would eat them. In fact, when Kelly and I, my ex-wife, when we started dating, the first time she came to my house, I had made Nestle's Toll House cookies and they were still warm. And she never had a weight problem at all. And so she came in and I said, would you like a cookie? And she said, no, I'm not hungry. And I said, you don't have to be hungry to have a cookie.
Cookies
And
are not about hungry.
like, well, I better watch this one. She's got some sneaky ideas, because I couldn't believe that somebody wouldn't want a cookie. And I think back to times in my life, like when I first did the Tonight Show, everybody else backstage was worrying about what they were going to say, what the interview was going to be like. And I was trying not to eat the brownie in the craft service table. I was sitting there not worrying about my first national television experience. I was worrying that I really wanted to eat the brownie and I couldn't. And it was the only thing I thought about before I went out on that stage. Food noise, as people are calling it, had really run my life. And I didn't even know it until I took Mounjaro. I didn't know.
I agree.
So I would love to be able to try to get Eli Lilly to make compassionate use for this drug. That they're going now, apparently, they're going to do it for obesity as well, which they really should. And I also think it could help anyone with addiction. Because any kind of
studies are there,
because I find that I don't really want to drink either. And I'm not thinking like I used to because I was on every diet there was. I even did fen back in the 80s or 90s.
We did your chub club at work.
Exactly. I did the chub club and gained weight, but
we did
never an answer for me. And any fix that I got, I knew it was temporary. Well, all I think about this drug is I want to be on it the rest of my life. And I don't care if it's still 2.5. I don't care if I only lose a pound a week. I don't gain on this. And gaining was a big problem. So some
Yes.
people have said, well, you only lost 28 pounds since December. That's only, I go, right. And in a year, it's 60.
Yeah.
In a year, it's 60 pounds. And I'm halfway
Consistency.
through the year. Now, some people say you should go up to 5.0. But I'm listening to my doctor. I feel very good. I have not had one side effect besides the first week when I couldn't eat. I felt like I
Yeah.
thought I was going to get sick, but I wasn't necessarily nauseous, but I just felt like, what's going on,
Mhm.
And aside from that, I've had zero side effects. And I know that I'm very lucky. I know there are people who've tried it and they can't bear the side effects. But for my body and for what it does to me chemically inside of my cells is miraculous. Is miraculous. Now, I don't know about you ladies, but I always have to watch when I lose weight because I don't like the attention it brings my body. And
Yeah.
that's from abuse stuff as a kid. That's from not wanting to be a victim, not wanting people to desire me in a way that I feel I can't control.
Yeah.
So, as much as I am very thankful to have it, I'm very happy that I'm staying on the low dose because if I continue to lose a pound or 2 pounds a month, I'm okay with that. I really am.
Yeah.
I think the slowness allows my emotional world to catch up to my physical world. Like I went to a wedding this weekend and the woman who brought me, it was a black tie wedding. Don't ever do that to your friends. It's a horrible thing. But I got a tuxedo, and the woman was like, "Oh no, these are too big. These are too big." And I'm saying, "Well, since I saw you last, I only lost 2 pounds." And the woman seamstress who was there measured me, and she said, "You lost 3 inches on your waist." I was like, "Really? Since then?" She's like, "Yes." So I don't do I don't do the string or the measuring tape to see how much I'm losing. I just know that I am, and I know by the fact that I'm not eating the cookies that are sitting right there. And they're
Yeah.
sitting there now. And sometimes my chef will make one cookie for me after dinner,
Oh.
right? Like this big and I won't eat it. She put it in the little tray next to me and I say thank you. Then she leaves and I go, I don't really want it, right? Because she's made me a very balanced, protein-rich vegetable meal.
Yeah.
And I feel satiated. I feel full. And I no longer look to add something to my mouth when I have feelings or I no longer am distracted at the movie theater. I went to the movies with my daughter and she wanted Twizzlers and Kit Kats, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, and the popcorn is horrible at this theater. I said, okay, so let's get Twizzlers and Kit Kats. And we get there and it ended and the Twizzlers weren't even opened, right? She's a 10-year-old, so she was happy with her little mini thin Kit Kats. And I just sat there with the Twizzlers and I was like, look at this. There was a time when if I went to the movie theater, not only would I get a Coke Slurpee, I would get popcorn with Milk Duds in it. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to not do it.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was drawn like a magnet to the concession
Yes.
stand.
Yes.
And then fighting myself to not get the Milk Duds, but then giving in and getting the Milk Duds. And I felt so ashamed, I felt ashamed that people were making fun of me, weight wise, everything. Whenever anyone disagrees with me, especially politically, the first thing they say in their insulting of me is, you are a fat, blah, 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 communist, horrible.
Yeah.
But the
Oh,
always fat, as if I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what I weigh, sir. I
yeah,
have it
newsflash. Right.
and the way that people are discriminated again, it's thought to be, as you said earlier, fat and lazy, thought to be non-disciplined, thought to be gluttonous, and people were always surprised. My best friend Jackie is very thin and a runner, and always never had a weight problem, and she always said, "Roseanne, you eat so much less than me. How
Yeah.
is it possible that you are this big?" I don't know. I didn't know how it was possible because if you would compare what I would eat to what someone else would eat, you'd think I would be the one who was thin.
Yeah.
But it was not the case, you know? And
Yeah.
most of my weight is in my stomach, which also I think has abuse connotations and connections, that some parts of your body you want to be covered up a little bit more, not exposed. You know, I've worked on that with my therapist for many, many years, and I just find it interesting that, you know, most of my weight is right there, you know, in my
Yeah.
belly. And I just think that if there's any way that I could help at all, you know, I would do anything to make sure that people can get it. It seems so unfair. And even more unfair, in my opinion, are the people who have been using all three of these weight loss uh, medications. And then because of the cost or a decision by the company making them, they have to stop.
Yeah.
And I, like you ladies, I assume, live in fear of the stopping. Now, I'll tell
Yes.
you that last week or 2 weeks ago, we couldn't get Mounjaro. It was
Yeah.
Right.
sold out in every place in LA. So I had a 13-day from the last shot to the next shot, 13 days. And I was happy to say I didn't feel much different. But I also
Yeah.
think it's been in my body for 6 months, and
Yes.
maybe there's, you know, there's excess, but I didn't feel the panic that I thought I was going to feel. But
Yeah.
these women, and I hear their stories on TikTok, and I see the pain in their face, saying that I will do anything to get it. And that's kind of what I feel. Not because
Yes.
I want to look a size 6, you know, not because I want to, but I want to live. I want
Yes.
to be healthy. I want to not have to worry about carrying this extra weight. And when people say that's all you lost is 30 pounds, I want to go get 30 pounds and hand it
And
to them
show them.
and
Right.
say,
Yeah.
walk up the stairs and walk back. Now tell me
Yeah.
how you feel. It affects
Yeah.
every part of your life, not just the emotional shame and shade that you get from the world, but the physical wear and tear of the excess weight on your body and your heart. And I had
Yes.
a
100%.
massive heart attack. And you know what? It wasn't enough to make me lose and keep it off.
Yeah.
A massive heart attack. So
It's
I
true.
don't know
Yep.
what else you can do besides this
Yes.
medication. And,
Yeah.
you know, people say, what if it comes out that it's going to affect you this way or that way? I'm like, I can tell you this. I don't want to live my life without it. My life was
Yes.
out of control without it. And I know there are people who take, I think it's called antabuse, where you take a shot and then if you drink, you get sick, right? I know there
Yeah.
are people who have medications that sort of stop their addiction. And
Yeah.
I really do believe there'll be other uses for this drug in that arena too, because I do believe I
Mhm.
was addicted to food. I do believe I was addicted to sugar, and I couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
90 something percent of people who go on diets gain it back.
Yeah.
95%. I mean, are you
It's a
kidding me?
lot.
Right. And so Jenny
Mhm.
Craig just closed, right?
Yep.
They're out of business. And, you know, Weight Watchers, listen, I know it works for some people, but it doesn't work consistently and it doesn't work long term.
Nope.
And Weight Watchers
It's
now
true.
has purchased an online prescription company that
Yeah.
can get
Yeah.
you your medication. So I think this is the way weight loss is moving in terms of health and medically. And I'm really happy and proud that I got to experience for myself just how life altering it is. And I would love to help in any way. I would be more than happy to be the spokesperson. I had some people on talking about this and they're like, well, how come you admit it? I'm like, don't you notice I admit everything? You know,
Yeah. Right. Like, have you met
one,
me?
I,
Own it. Own it.
when
Yep.
things happen to me, if I feel embarrassed or if I tell people right away. But I don't see any reason, because to share what works and what might help someone else, that's the greatest gift of your life, right? I have found this thing that is so beautifully changed my noisy monkey chattering brain around food. And I want every woman who's lived like I have for 61 years to have the opportunity to try this and see if it works with their body.